All right, Shalom. First things first, we want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai. And we give double honors to our apostles and elders, which are the apostles and elders, a great millstone that have been laboring and feeding the elect men, Lord willing, through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the hopeful elect, man. This is just a news update because we got all types of things going on and happening with the Venezuela situation and different things like that. But these prophecies are screaming in these last days, man. That's why it says, though it tarry, wait for it. And they're coming to pass now. So I'm just going to play these and go into the scripts. And Lord willing, you brothers are edified. And you can just see that we're living in the time of the end. All right. And this right here is a news story on Next News Network. I mean, that's it. They always have good updates, but this is going into the missile, the ICBM, which is called Satan. Actually, this is Satan 2. Okay, and the Most High has put a devastating sword in the hand of Gog, man, Gog and Magog.
Talking about the nuclear arsenal, Russia is now developing the Sarmat. Also, I believe there's another nickname for it, simply called Satan, and it is quite literally the world's largest intercontinental ballistic missile that can have multiple ton payload, 12 multiple targeted warheads, 12 in that nose cone, and it's a pretty deadly device. Why are the Russians developing something of such destructive force? Apparently, this thing can take out the entire state of Texas, and one of them can take out the entire state of Texas, even the entire country of France, with one intercontinental ballistic missile. Why in the world do the Russians need something so devastating?
Well, because the Russians, they're very clear about this. If the Russians consider the United States to be their number one long-term strategic enemy, and at some point there will be a conflict. So they're preparing for it. They're modernizing. So these new missiles, the Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile is the technical name for it. Now it's nicknamed in the West. The previous generation was known as the Satan missiles. These are nicknamed the Satan II, kind of the next generation. But as you mentioned, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, they're armed with 12 warheads. So one missile goes up and 12 independently targetable warheads come down. The warheads can be directed at different cities, different installations.
All right. This is real quick to back up what this guy's saying. I mean, really all he's stating is this is prophecy, man. This is foretold to happen, okay? Because he said one missile goes up and 12 come down, right? All right, this is the book of Isaiah. This is Isaiah 34, and we'll start at verse 5. We'll start at verse 4. It says, "And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll." Because what's that? That's the ICBM when the missile hits the mushroom cloud, okay? When it pops up, it looks like a scroll being rolled together. All right, and it says, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and their host shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. And what's a sword? Is a killing instrument. All right, that's the sword is the missile. Okay, and it says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down." See, come down. So that's showing you that it went up. The sword goes up and then it comes back down. That's it makes an arch, man. So he said one missile goes up and 12 comes down. Okay, and that's the sword being bathed in heaven. That's outer space, because ICBMs, they have to shoot in outer space and come back down into the orbit. It says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea." And who's Idumea? Is the Edomites, okay? what you call the so-called white people today, and that is ruling the planet Earth by the way of the international bankers, okay, and the banking cartel families and the elites of this world. They're the ones, Idumea, Edom, that is the Most High is going to destroy, man. The elites are going to be preserved, but what I'm saying, Esau is who's ruling right now, which is a so-called white man. And it says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven; behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood; it is made fat." And he just told you that one missile can destroy whole of Texas or whole of a landmass the size of France. It says, "The sword of the Lord is filled with blood; it is made fat with the fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fatness of kidneys of rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Basra." All right, and what's Basra? Basra is another name to call America, where Esau dwells at. Okay, and it says, "And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea."
Of France with one intercontinental ballistic missile. Why in the world do the Russians need something so devastating?
Well, because the Russians, they're very clear about this. If the Russians consider the United States to be their number one long-term strategic enemy, and at some point there will be a conflict. So they're preparing for it. They're modernizing. So these new missiles, the Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile is the technical name for it. Now it's nicknamed in the West. The previous generation was known as the Satan missiles. These are nicknamed the Satan II, kind of the next generation. But as you mentioned, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, they're armed with 12 warheads. So one missile goes up and 12 independently targetable warheads come down. The warheads can be directed at different cities, different installations, whatever you like. But basically, one missile goes up, 12 warheads come down, each targeted at different locations. And so, yeah, as the international news reports indicate, that just one missile, because it has these 12 independently targetable warheads, can take out a state the size of Texas, a country the size of France. I mean, just incredibly and dangerous missiles.
Michael, now our nuclear arsenal, staying on the topic, 60 Minutes just in a piece, revealed that our nuclear systems are being run on outdated 70s technology. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's very disturbing because we're seeing the Chinese modernize. We're seeing the Russians modernize with all these new programs. Here in the United States, though, the heart of our missile system, of our strategic nuclear arsenal, hasn't been upgraded since the 60s or 70s, most of them. And then 60 Minutes recently went in and they went in and to some of these facilities, and our strategic nuclear forces are using floppy disks. So I'm not talking about the square hard ones. I'm talking about the 8-inch ones that you could hold in your hand and literally flop. Those are being used in these facilities. And the old rotary phone technology, where you dial the phone and then it would spin back and you do it again to do another number. Those rotary phones are being used in these facilities. So in terms of where we are compared to the Russians or the Chinese, I mean, it's not even close. So they're modernizing, they're preparing for conflict with the United States. Meanwhile, the whole perspective of our politicians is, oh, the Cold War is over, China and Russia are our friends, and yet we continue to poke them and provoke them. And our relationship with both China and Russia is totally going downhill, totally going into the toilet. And so this is something that I write about, I talk about, but I have a real hard time getting people fired up about this, because most Americans have totally this mindset that, a conflict with Russia or China, that back in the Cold War days, that could never happen today, but it could happen. And it's becoming more of a possibility with each passing month.
Michael, certainly some critical information.
All right, this is the book of, let me, because to back up what he's saying, that the United States Army's missiles aren't up to date. This is the book of Ezekiel 39 and verse 3. It says, "And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and I will cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand." Okay? So even in the time when war comes, the Most High is going to smite the arrows out of their hand. But this showing you right there that their system runs on outdated systems, okay? Outdated things, man. You know, they might say, oh, we doing this so it prevents hacking and different things like that. But if you look at it, man, it's showing you that Babylon's not ready, man. It's not ready. All right, we're going to jump into the next news. Show you that Esau is the damn devil, man. You know what? This is going into some robotic bees, and I'll post a story down there. But I'm gonna read these scriptures and this is the book of 1 Timothy or Proverbs. Let me get this real quick. This is Proverbs 15 and verse 25, and it says, "The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow." And who's the widow? The widow. That's Israel. Okay. And it says, "And the thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words." And what is that pleasant words? That's his truth. That's why you got the elders, the apostles and the elders that have been kicking this knowledge and kicking this truth for years, man. That's a pleasure. It says, "The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy to gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth the gift shall live." Okay? And what's the main thing? That chip, man. You got to hate that, because a lot of people are going to try to take that chip to live, man, and to prosper, okay? And it's not going to happen, because the Most High has judgment for that. All right? And this is the book of Jeremiah 49 and verse 8. Jeremiah 49 and verse 8. And it says, "Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him." And we're getting close to that time, man. So brothers, keep faith and keep watching and keep praying, man, because we're coming close to that time. So with that, I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. Shalom. Keep faith.